September 10th, 2022. Well, what I want to address in this video today is the kind of the strategy for the fall campaign for the midterm elections for Senate and House, and at least what I think the Republicans should be doing. I'm not sure they are doing, and I think that they need to develop a little bit more of a strategic focus than I've been seeing so far. They've been more or less dealing with the issues, such as issues like specifics, gasoline prices, inflation, and illegal immigration, all this sort of thing. And that's very important issues. But the strategic issue and why people should vote Republican in this election is something else. And that is the profound threat that the Democrat Party today poses to our constitutional and traditional system of government. Now, for instance, in recent speeches, President Biden has been assailing the MAGA Republicans as being this great threat. But I say quite the contrary. Actually, it's really the Democrats that are the threat to the constitutional system. Now, by constitutional system, I don't mean just the document. I also mean the tradition and the interpretation and the way it's been administered over many, many decades, well over a century and a half, nearly from the beginning. So, okay, what has kept the country together and kept it stable? And this is the thing that I think that they are monkeying with in a very profound way. I've kind of addressed this almost from the outset of these videos, going way back to before the last election. And that is that they want to basically change the way things work in the country. And the key to this is the fracture point of our system, which is the filibuster. And the whole idea of using the so-called nuclear option to simply eliminate the filibuster and allow a simple majority of 51 people, 50 plus the vice president, to pass any legislation they want to pass. With that proviso, they can then do the next step, and that is alter the Supreme Court and simply pack enough people on there that agree with them that all precedents can be swept aside and they can decide anything is constitutional that they want to be. And that means effectively the actual written Constitution, I won't say it means nothing, but it definitely means a lot less than what's on the paper. There are some things I think that they would probably be unable to monkey with that way without creating too much disruption. But at any rate, so this is my basic point. If you like these videos, please subscribe. A like helps a lot with the algorithm to get other people to see them. And any comments are appreciated. So that's where I'm getting at here. And this is, I think, way underestimated. We really nearly had this happen in the last term of Congress here, which it hasn't ended yet, but we're pretty much through it, and it doesn't look like that's going to come undone because a lot of stresses were put on it, and it held. And it held for one basic reason. There were two Democrat senators that didn't go along with the plan, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. On other things, they've proven to be Democrats. I mean, Kristen Sinema is a pretty liberal lady, really, overall, and Joe Manchin is a liberal Democrat. I mean, you say he's a conservative. I would say he's the most conservative of the Democrats that are in the Senate right now. But to say he's conservative, I mean, like, probably not as conservative as Susan Collins is. And most people don't consider her to be a conservative, I don't think. So, you know what I'm saying. Not to knock him. I mean, I think he deserves a Medal of Freedom or something for what he's done here if he sticks with it to the end of this term. But the point is, and continues to stick with it. And yes, he approved $400 billion of wasteful spending, let's say here. Okay. Compared to what we're talking about, as much money as that is, that's kind of trivial compared to what could have happened. Remember, what they were planning on doing was like 10 times that. Okay. So, you know, and so what I think is that this constitutional principle issue should be one of our key focuses in the campaign. Yet I don't really hear anybody mentioning it hardly, and I think it should be driven home. For instance, a lot of the issues that the Democrats come at, for instance, they're trying to attack Republicans, particularly, Johnson of Wisconsin are trying to say, for instance, I'm hearing that, well, he's going to do something bad to Social Security. If the filibuster's in place, he really can't do much to Social Security, I don't think. And the Democrats aren't going to go along with it. And there's going to be enough. The Social Security is ironclad. I don't think he wants to even. But the way to protect Social Security is not to disrupt the filibuster. Similarly speaking, to keep the constitutional system in place, you have to consider another aspect. To pack the Supreme Court, the key thing you do, if you're going to do that, it would be to eliminate the filibuster, and then with a simple majority, you could add as many seats as you want, and then confirm those justices to be as liberal as you imagine. And that's the kind of thing that they're thinking about. And now they got blocked by 2 senators, but that doesn't mean they're not there. They also want to change the electoral system and federalize it and get rid of the state rules. They want to basically loosen up the safeguards against cheating. And why they do that? Because they do cheat. I don't understand at all why we're seeing things that are going on where people are not pursuing things like the 2,000 mules issue. I don't get this. Republicans, where they have the power to do it, such as in Arizona and in Georgia, are apparently not doing it. And yet, using the same techniques are being used to put people in jail for walking into the Capitol during January the 6th. The geolocation, it's a viable thing, of course. But the point is, changing the electoral system is very big. And then the next thing they can do would be to legalize all these illegal immigrants they brought in the country with a simple majority vote. They're all citizens now. You see what I'm getting at? Step by step by step, if these guys get in and get a majority with a Democrat president, the country will be something like the likes of which we're not used to. It'll be a different country, totally. And then you take things like the Second Amendment rights. Well, with their new Supreme Court, the Second Amendment means nothing. Probably means the police have a right to have guns, and the government and the federal agents do, and the National Guard does, but it doesn't mean anything about you. I mean, this could go way beyond assault weapon bans that are being discussed. This could be like Britain. I mean, that's the kind of thing that could happen if these guys get in power and can consolidate it. And so that's the essential message I have in all this, that these kind of issues, this constitutional issue, should become one of the preeminent issues that we put in the campaign. And I think it refutes many of the other things that they're saying and makes the things, something like the January 6th riot, seem almost trivial by comparison to what they're proposing. Now, they're not saying they're proposing it in this election. Now, they've gone quiet on all this stuff now. They've gone quiet. They're not talking about it now. But we know last year they were very seriously trying to do it, and they came close to it. That they got 48 senators willing to go along with this, and a majority in the House to go along with it. So that's my basic message here, and I think this should be the key cornerstone of the Republican campaign for this election year. And like I said, even if you don't like specific Republican issues, like, for instance, the abortion decision of the Supreme Court or some of these other issues, still, I think if you think about it carefully, this is a much bigger issue than that, because at the state level, the Supreme Court decision allows the states to do whatever they want to do on that issue. They may actually give a little bit more rights in terms of guns than we've seen before. So in that sense, but the problem with guns isn't guns. The problem with guns is Democrat policies not prosecuting criminals, not actually enforcing the laws we already have, and allowing these criminals to run around in the big cities and committing mayhem. And again, that's another reason to support the Republicans for the public safety. So I think overall, warts and all, whatever you believe on these other issues, I think that the constitutional issue is center. So at any rate, so I'll mention that. By the way, you can follow me on my social media accounts that are listed in the description below. And also I post these videos on Rumble. So I'll close this for now, and until next time.